So he said, why don't you teach within Amazon? Not just intuitive, you have to check the data and take data driven decisions so that you don't fail. The chances of failing are less. But if you want to predict or you want to recommend something, that's where data scientists will come into picture. It is not just descriptive, it is predictive. So what I did, I started my LinkedIn and YouTube together. And that helped me actually. So if you are from a FAANG company, it will help you. People will trust you. Because I was in Amazon, people trusted me, right? The biggest problem with SQL is people know SQL, but they're not able to solve the problem. I was very clear, right? So I started Namaste SQL around in October 2022. Family was little bit surprised that why you are leaving so good job. Because first of all, Amazon is a big company.
Hi everyone. So today we have a guest, Ankit Bansal, who is founder of Namaste SQL. He has a vast journey, long journey. He has worked with IBM, Infosys, Deloitte, Nest, Amazon as data engineer 2 and 3. And he has resigned from his Amazon job and currently he is working on his own company. And he's an expert in SQL. So we are going to figure out how important SQL is, how do you apply it in different fields like data analytics and data science. So hi Ankit, how are you?
I'm good, Sandeep. Thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure, actually. I think Geeks for Geeks is very famous. Every college students, if you ask them, they will have some idea about Geeks of Geeks, and you have a long journey. So it is a pleasure for me to sitting with you and talking about my journey. It's like a dream come true for me.
Thank you, Ankit. I mean, my team figured out your name. You must have been doing an amazing job. So I would like you to know more about yourself. Tell us about your journey. How has your corporate journey been? And then what motivated you to resign from your well-paying job and start Namaste SQL full time?
So I have close to 13, 14 years of experience. I started my journey with Infosys as a ETL developer. During those days, there was no such thing as data engineer and all. There were ETL tools like IBM Data Stage, Informatica. So I started from there and slowly I picked up SQL because as a ETL developer, you are not much focused on SQL. You are just using ETL tools and SQL was used to just extract the data, right? But over the period of time, I worked on a lot of ELT projects, extract, load, transform. So there you have to do all the transformations or all the analytics on SQL. And that happened when I was in NES. So that changed my career when I picked up SQL. And what motivated me, I think couple of things. So when I joined Amazon in 2020. If you remember, that was the time when there was a lot of attrition and people were getting lot of offers also because data people were in demand, right? So when I joined Amazon, in my team also there were a lot of attrition. So we had to hire a lot of people. But the problem was for BIs and data engineers, first round was SQL, and 80% of the people were not able to clear it. So I realized that there is a gap because SQL is there from decades, 40, 50 years, I think. But it is used not as an analytical tool, right? It is mostly for backend development, for PL SQL, right? So I realized that there is some gap, right? And I searched a lot of YouTube channel, right, where they teach basics. No one was going into depth, advanced SQL, right? So that was one thing that motivated me. Second thing, what happened was when I started my YouTube channel, right? My manager was very supportive. He was like, "You are doing great work." I was like, "I don't know what he will say." I started my YouTube channel, but he was very supportive. So he said, "Why don't you teach within Amazon?" So within Amazon, there are a lot of business people like supply chain managers, category managers. He said, "You can teach them SQL because for small request also, they used to come to us. We were
Right.
part of supply chain analytics team."
And that takes
Right?
developers time
Right.
unnecessarily.
So they said, "Why don't you teach at least basic so that they can do basic things themselves?" And that was a turning point, I think. I taught at least 200 people across India, Americas, Asia Pacific, Europe, right? And I got very good response. We had a feedback survey. We got 4.8 rating out of 5. So that changed my mind that I can teach also, right? I didn't know that I can teach well. So these two things actually motivated me to start Namaste SQL. Yeah.
All right. And tell me, like, I've been seeing use of SQL. People, as you said, people generally study it as part of DBMS subject,
Right.
and then they know they need to query in the database. And every company has the backend where they use SQL. How SQL, in a layman term, like somebody who is BTech first year, second year student, and he knows only about SQL, he or she doesn't know about data analytics, data science, he doesn't know what ETL is or these things. Tell more about like application of SQL and data analytics and data engineer. And I would also like to understand, what does a data engineer do? I mean, in a company, we have different roles in companies: data analyst, data engineer, data scientist. So how is data engineer different from other roles, and what is the role of a data engineer?
Okay. So to your first question, so if you see, what is analytics? Analytics is all about making data driven decisions, right? So
Right.
businesses are there, they are taking, so let's say they want to launch a new product, so they want to find which is the location. So one way is you go intuitive, right? I feel this is better or that is better. Another thing, you collect data, right? If you want to open a, let's say, Japanese restaurant in Kolamangala, so you will see how many restaurants are there, what kind of people are living here. You want to do that analysis, right? So that's where data analytics come into picture, right? Not just intuitive. You have to check the data and take data-driven decisions so that you don't fail. The chances of failing are less, right? So let's take Amazon, right? Now there are hundreds and thousands of products, right? Now you want to know that there are different categories. In each category, which is the highest selling product, right? Now if you do this in Excel, it is difficult because they have millions of transactions every day. You can't do it. But with simple SQL, the 2 lines of code, you can get it. That in each category, which is the highest selling product, how many orders we sold, how many revenue we generated, right? So these kind of things are very easy with SQL, right? When it comes to data manipulation. To your second question, that how data engineering, data analyst, and data science is different, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So data engineer is more about building a foundation of data, right? So let's say you have Netflix streaming data, right? So you want to collect that data. Now, if you want to do some analytics, let's say they have built a recommendation system, right? How you will do it? You should have some foundation somewhere so that analyst can or data scientist can work on it. So you will take all that streaming data, store it somewhere, right? Create a pipeline because every day millions of people are watching it. So you want to store that data somewhere and be keep it in a form that anyone can do analytics on top of it, right? So we have to build a end-to-end pipeline, extract the data, transform some transformations are needed, cleaning the data, right? And then load in somewhere. It can be a data warehouse or it can be a data lake, anything, right? So that is the main thing for data engineer, right? Extracting data and keep it in a form, maintaining it in a form that anyone can use it, right?
All right. So
Now,
they mainly take the raw data and
right,
put it in a way so that data scientists can use it.
right, or data analyst can
Data
use it,
analysts can use it.
right? Now, difference between data analyst and scientist, right? So, data analyst are more do descriptive analytics, which means you have already some data, right? Let's say again example of Netflix, right? So you want to see that which is the most popular, most watched TV series, right? Which has highest watch duration, right? These kind of things data analyst will do. Based on some data, he's doing some analysis, right? But if you want to predict or you want to recommend something, that's where data scientists will come into picture. It is not just descriptive, it is predictive. They are
All right.
predicting something that what should I give a recommendation so that user will click on it and watch it, right? So that's the difference between data analyst and data scientist.
And I think these roles are more relevant in big product-based companies. If you talk about startup, then most of the
Right.
people
It
are
is all
doing
mixed
everything
up.
mixed up, and everybody is doing
Right.
everything.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. So you have appeared in so many interviews, right, in different companies. And what are your tips? Because you cracked so many interviews, right? What are the tips you would like to give to working professionals who have 1 or 2 years of experience, or the students who are in second year, third year, in final year, and they want to appear for interviews? You must have given a lot of interviews, you must have seen some rejections and then some selections and a lot of selections that your LinkedIn profile tells, right?
Right.
So, what are the things that worked for you that you can guide the audience?
So in interviews, I think there are two things. One is technical, right? For technical, I always suggest. So there are a lot of content nowadays, right? People don't prepare the concept, don't prepare the topic. They will just go to YouTube, interview questions. That doesn't work. If you don't know the fundamentals during interview, you will get nervous, right? Because they will not straight away ask you something. They will go round and round each corner of question, and they will just try to confuse you, right? So if you don't know fundamentals, there will be a problem. So instead of searching for interview questions, spend some good amount of time to understand the fundamentals, take a good course, understand, and then you do the practice. Okay, that is one thing. Apart from that, you should be, very relaxed during the interview. I have taken a lot of interviews and people will be nervous, right? And when you are nervous, you can't answer it. So you should be very relaxed. You should smile often whenever possible during the interview, right? That you will get an advantage. And also you should not, it should not feel like to interviewer that you are nervous or you are not able to answer, right? You can ask many questions. So if interviewer is asking some question, you can have some question. Okay, if it is like this, then what should be it? There can be many use cases, right? Interviewer will ask you plain question. You can ask multiple questions. So that will also tell interviewer, okay, you are interested, you are understanding it. So these are some of the tips which can help people to crack the interviews.
And asking questions to interviewer is very, very important. Speaking out your mind, like what is
Right.
going through your mind.
Right.
Because many times we over imagine, we overthink that we need to handle this case
Right.
also, that case also, but interviewer is not expecting so much from you. I remember I was rejected in a company, and this company came to IIT Roorkee campus. So I qualified the first round, which
Okay.
was pen and paper round, which was there was no interaction. Then they selected a few people and asked us to sit in a classroom. And I was like, they gave a linked list question, and I was like thinking of every corner case. And there were some people, and the invigilators were the company people only. There were
Okay.
some people who were asking questions to these company people that what are the cases I need to handle? I have come up with this approach. Is this fine? What all I need to handle? And when I saw the result, those were the people who were actually selected after that round. I was rejected after the second round because I was not interacting. So that I have seen myself also. The point that you mentioned about interaction, it's very, very important.
Because it is not always necessary to give the exact right answer. Even if you reach 70-80% by telling your approach, it is good enough. So if you keep everything in mind and not able to solve final, then interviewer doesn't know what is going in your mind.
And you might be thinking something else, interviewer has something else in
Right.
mind. When you talk, you match.
Right,
You
exactly.
come on a common ground. All right. So tell us more about your YouTube journey. When did you start? And I mean, these days, I mean, I'm 42 now, and nowadays, blogging was the big thing, right? Everybody was blogging those days. These days, a lot of people, I mean, not these days, it has been from a long time now. A lot of people want to be a successful YouTuber like you. So, and you're obviously, it's the content, I understand. I mean, I've seen your videos, and I would recommend people to, try watching your channel and explore it because it's awesome content. So, tell people more about if they want to build a YouTube channel, what things worked for you, and what are the content strategies that you follow?
So what worked for me is I was lucky actually. So what I did, I started my LinkedIn and YouTube together, and that helped me actually. Because initially, if you start YouTube, you don't have an audience, right? It is difficult to get audience on your channel because there are a lot of channels and YouTube algorithm and lot of issues. So I started LinkedIn. I started writing on LinkedIn, and from there, I will tell people I have a channel as well. So people will go. Okay. So when I had around 50,000 subscribers, I did a poll on my YouTube channel that from where you got to know my YouTube channel. So 75% people were from LinkedIn.
Okay.
Okay. So if LinkedIn was not there, I would not have grown here.
Okay.
Right. So that helped me a lot.
So my next question probably is, how did you grow your LinkedIn connections?
So I will be honest. So if you are from a FAANG company, it will help you. People will
Alright.
trust you. Because I was in Amazon, people trusted me, right? But at the same time, you have to have authentic content, some new content, right? For me, what also worked is, again, people were teaching SQL very basics, right? No one was going into advanced, complex queries. What I did when I started YouTube channel, I did not teach SQL at all. I just took a problem and solved it. And when I solved it step by step, people will learn from it. Okay. And I have taken very complex problems and broke them down in a step by step manner. That way, people understood the concept as well as how to approach the problem. Because the biggest problem with SQL is people know SQL, but they are not able to solve the problem. Right. So that picked up actually.
Right. I mean, whatever you do, whether it is blogging or YouTube, if you are solving somebody's problem, if you're
Right.
providing apt content, right content, which actually people need, which is not available at many other places, and in a better way that would work any day. Basically, it might take some time, but I think your content must be the thing that
Exactly.
that
In
got you,
long term, that
that
matters.
matters the most.
Right.
Now, I got to know that you recently left your job. So how difficult this decision was for you to leaving this job? There must be like your family and people must have asked like, why you doing leaving the job and doing something full time?
So for family, it was definitely a pressure that why you are leaving. From me, it was not. I was very clear, right? So I started Namaste SQL around in October 2022, right? And it was already 1.5 years. And I was doing good. People were liking the codes, people were getting new jobs, and almost every day I started getting messages from students. So I knew that I can teach, right? So I was doing good also in terms of income from my Namaste SQL. So leaving job and thinking about money was not a issue for me because I was generating good income. And then family was little bit surprised that why you are leaving so good job, because first of all Amazon is a big company.
Right.
In that I was at level 6 data engineer 3, and I had a very heavy fat package, right? So family is like why you are leaving job, and then I told my vision, right? It is not about 1 or 2 years, it is about next 20 years what I want to do. And if I'm doing both the things together, it is difficult because I have two small kids as well, 3.5 years and 2 years, right? So managing all of this, YouTube, LinkedIn, Namaste SQL, kids, Amazon, it was not feasible.
And how is the journey going right now? Your entrepreneurship journey, you spent quite some time now.
It is good actually. I'm getting a lot of time to think about it. I have started long term content also on my YouTube channel because I was not getting much time before. So whatever was there, I will just create video. Now I'm getting some time. I will spend 2-3 days in a single video that what I should do. Right. Earlier I didn't have that liberty. So I'm just loving it. I my passion for teaching is growing every day.
Alright. That grows when you get positive response. When people
Exactly.
like your content, when people like what you're doing, that's the biggest motivation, I guess. So, and you must be seeing your content, you must be getting a lot of it, right? A lot
Lot
of
of
thank
it.
you messages, a lot
Every
of
day
messages,
messages I will get
right?
on different platforms, emails. So it is just keeps me giving dopamine.
All right. So now you are mainly a tech guy, right? You were a tech person. Now you're into business.
Right.
So how do you maintain the balance, and what about the business acumen? Like how is it going, and how do you build it? Basically, how did you build it over the time?
That's a good question actually. So I think when you are doing entrepreneurship, you have to wear multiple hats. So when I was doing job, I was just focused on project that this I have to finish and that's it, right? Now I have to think about the taxes, the marketing, digital marketing, lot of other stuffs, how to maintain my team, keep people happy working under me, how to think innovative, what are my vision, right? So there are a lot of things, but business as such is not new to me. I'm from a business family. So I'm from UP and we have a garment shop. And I have been like a salesperson for 10, 12 years.
All right.
I will be in the shop, I will show the shirts or t-shirts and I will sell them. So I had basic idea of what is business, how we have to run it. But that was all offline. Online is little different, but yeah, it is always learning. I have done a lot of courses around it, digital marketing, understanding taxes in India. So it is always a learning journey, and I'm enjoying it absolutely.
I think with time, you will be like more of a manager and
Yeah,
entrepreneur. Slowly, the tech will take this.
and you are like a product manager for your website, right? You are
Right.
deciding everything what has to be done. You are taking feedback, but ultimately you have to take decision that what should
Right.
be there on your website, how it should look like. So you become a product manager as well. So it's a different kinds of things you are doing altogether.
And how much time you're giving to business? Like you told that you have kids, you have family, right? So is it getting difficult? Because I'll tell you about when I started Geek Stories, my daughter was born during that time, and she was 1 or 2 years old when I started doing it full time. So not 2 years actually, she was 5 years old. So
Okay.
at that time, I was like giving a lot of time to Geek Stories. And even when she was 1 or 2 years old, I was doing the teaching job. I went to a less demanding job, and for me it was like I wasn't even celebrating her birthdays. She was my first kid, and I didn't celebrate her first, second, third, fourth birthdays at all, because I was like too much into Geeks for Geeks, and I had too much fire that I need to work day and night. So is it like the same for you, or you were able to manage things with your family and all?
Not actually. So when I was doing job, the situation was little bit like you.
Okay.
After leaving the job, I am little relaxed.
Okay.
I get a lot of time actually to spend with family. I generally start working at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And nowadays it is holidays for kids, but they will go to school, so I will get 4 5 hours. Then they will sleep. So generally by 4:30 I will wrap it up.
Okay.
Then with kids I will spend time, and if I have something important I will log in. Otherwise I don't log in after that.
All right.
So I'm getting a lot of time with family, and that was the sole reason I wanted to leave my job.
Yeah, that's
After
true.
leaving job also, if I'm too busy, then there is no point.
That's true. In fact, when I was telling you, I just kind of remembered, when I was doing it with the job, that is where I was giving less
Right.
time to the family. I was
Right.
not able to.
Right.
When you have full day, you manage your time.
You
You
manage
figure
your
out.
time.
You have decision making power. You can figure out.
And there's no deadline.
There's no
Let's say
deadline
you
as
have to
well.
go somewhere with your kid. You can always postpone. Okay, I will do tomorrow. There's no like office that you have to deliver by Friday. You are running your own race, so you can decide what pace suits you. Right? Some people want to run fast, some want to run slow. So you can run at your own pace. That is the biggest advantage.
Now I'll come back to the SQL and data analytics and data science, and because a lot of people might be interested. So, if I am a person who is appearing for a data analytics interview or a data science or a data engineer interview, what are the topics I should study? Being an expert in SQL, what would you suggest? And what are the topics I should study, and how should I study, and how much time it takes to prepare for an interview? And what is the roadmap like? People say that for being a data scientist, you will first go as a data analyst, and then you will be promoted after certain experience. Is that true?
It is a better path. It is
Okay.
not that you have to be a data analyst, but a lot of people I know who are not into data industry, or they are completely non-tech, and they want to come into data industry. So they will say, I want to become data engineer, I want to become data scientist. So I always tell them that first become data analyst, because you need minimum tools and technology to learn. So you learn SQL, you learn basic Excel and one BI tool, maybe Power BI or Tableau. This is good enough. If you are very good with SQL and other two things, you know basics, you will get a job as a data analyst. Once you get a job as data analyst, you will have some understanding how this data industry works. And then based on your interest, if you want to go to data science, because you will understand what is data science exactly is. Without going into data analyst, you don't exactly know what data science is, what data engineering team is, right? So when you work as a data analyst, in your team there will be data engineers, there will be data scientists. You will know what exactly they are working, what is your interest, and based on that you can take decision that I want to stay as data analyst, I'm enjoying it, or I want to go to data engineering. Then you can learn some more technology. You have to learn cloud, distributed computing, Python, other things. Or you want to go to data science, then you have to learn statics, Python. Obviously, you have to learn machine learning, right? All those things you have to learn. So it becomes a easy path, and I think it is better also to join as a data analyst. Otherwise, getting job as a data science directly or data engineer directly is difficult.
And if I am a fresher and I want to be a data analyst, what are the topics that are commonly asked in interviews that I should prepare?
So if it is fresher, right? So fresher, they don't expect very advanced things, right? So you should know basic SQL, how to filter the data, how to aggregate data, how to transform the data, like case when statements, right? And if you know basics of subqueries, CTs, this is good enough. I think you don't have to go to, this recursive CTs or window analytical functions. Those things you want, if you have interest you can learn, but as a fresher no company will expect that you know all of these things. Just a basic thing, how to join tables, how to filter the data, how to use case when statements, how to aggregate data, I think good enough.
All right, Ankit, those are really great tips. I think that is all from my side. And I guess you guys must have enjoyed listening to Ankit. I personally learned a lot. You must have got an idea how important SQL is for interview and how do you be data analyst. Those tips that he told at the end, they must have been very, very helpful. And please keep checking out his channel, Namaste SQL, for learning SQL data analyst. And please do subscribe, like, and share this video.